Alright lads, so today we're going to be showcasing the brand new Beyond Bankai version of Mayuri. This is a character that I've been actually really looking forward to. Absolutely love the design despite it being simple in nature. Every time Mayuri gets a new headpiece, it's always exciting. In this case, it resembles Ashisogi Jizo. We actually even have Ashisogi Jizo in the back and he actually attacks with us. It's a really cool design, a bit controversial because I understand not everyone does like it, and that can also be said for this particular character. Some people have gone out the way to say this character is trash. That couldn't be further from the truth, and we're going to demonstrate that in today's video. So Mayuri is a power sniper with the Aaroniero kill ability. This is really good because he doesn't have much competition in that particular aspect. It has been quite a while since we received like a really good power Aaroniero killer. The most recent, of course, being the mana version of Yubachika. But other than that, the only good Aaroniero killers are those that came out like in 2021 and 2020. That being 5th anniversary Ichigo, 10 years later Rukia, and also the Burn the Witch version of Bruno. And as of right now, power doesn't have that many good characters, believe it or not, so it's nice to get more power characters to round out the attributes just a tad bit more. And in this case, him being a run killer means he just fits in the attribute quite nicely in my opinion. But having a look at this particular character, the way they designed him, it's very similar to 1000-Year Blood War Yamamoto, and by that he has almost the exact same set of skills. So you'll see it, damage wise he has friendly +1, a 40% berserker. When he inflicts a status on, he gets an 80% stat boost to his spiritual pressure stat. That's great in and of itself, but at the same time this character can inflict poison and also paralysis. Really good set of status augments, but that's also important because he also does 40% more damage to both of those afflicted status augments. So when you inflict a status augment on any enemy, you're getting an 80% stat boost for 10 seconds, and then you're also doing 80% more damage to those particular enemies. That's also really good. And then in combination with that, he has bombardment +1, a 40% devastation with also weakened defense. So bomb wise, in terms of damage for nuking potential in Guild Quest, he is actually one of the better nukers, and he does rival someone like 1000-Year Blood War Yamamoto. Now of course Yamamoto is a better nuker, but with Marauder, this Mayuri definitely has a place in Guild Quest for the nuking potential, but I can understand why that might not be as impressive as it used to be, because we do have characters like 7th anniversary Ichigo, who is a premium character, way more common, and you're probably going to more likely have him 5-5 over this Mayuri, so you're never really going to get the opportunity to use this character as a new character unless you luckily enough get him max transcended. But regardless of that, the fact that Mayuri can even nuke in Guild Quest is obviously impressive. With Marauder, you can take him into quest to have mini resistance, and we can also see here that he does have a very unique SA3, which we're going to demonstrate in this video. So with that said, let's jump into content and see how he does perform. Alright, so jumping into single player IT. Now he doesn't have killer here. I don't think it really matters that much. Let's quickly demonstrate this character. So this is going to be the most disappointing part about the character is his strong attack here. It's not ideal, but I think we passed the point now where strong attacks like this are considered game ruining or ruins the character. He definitely could have been better if he had better strong attacks, but I don't think it makes him a bad character. It's just less ideal. These strong attacks are perfectly serviceable with the skills that he does have. So his SA1 is going to be a lunge forwards. Again, not a bad strong attack by any means, but we just don't really ever see lunges nowadays, especially on end of month characters. But it's fine the way it is. His SA2 is going to be a little vacuum vortex in front of him. Does hit quite a few times. I think that's actually pretty good in his particular case because he does want to inflict status augments. So it's likely just to group up the enemies, and you can see there we actually did get the status augment inflicted. So now we're doing around 70% more damage with our strong attacks, right? So SA2 is perfectly fine. I actually really like it. SA1, again, I'm down for it. I would have obviously preferred a beam forwards, but it's not too bad. Now, the best part of this character, I guess, is the SA3. So it's going to be a little vacuum vortex in front of him. But what you're going to see here is that it's going to leave a status augment pool on the floor that has a very high chance to inflict the status augment. So if you position the SA3 properly, there's a pretty good chance you're always guaranteed to actually inflict the status augment. I think this room in particular is going to be really good for that SA3 because we can use it here and then the enemies are more likely just going to go into it. We can also even use our SA2 sometimes to drag in the enemies. And SA1, at least when you use that SA3, is going to be pretty good because they are going to be stationary. But I will admit there are going to be times like this, for example, where you use the SA3 and there's basically no enemies to go into it, which is perfectly fine. I think it's going to be a situational SA3. It's going to more so perform really good in Senkamon quests, also Guild quests where the room in nature is quite small, maybe even the new quest that's coming out later this year. That could be a good quest for Mayuri. But in quests like this where you're constantly moving forwards, yeah, the SA3 isn't going to be like the most ideal strong attack free. But personally, I don't mind it. I think it's actually a pretty cool strong attack. The idea of it makes sense on this particular character, and it's adding a bit more diversity to SA3s because usually SA3s are always just the same. a full screen strong attack. We rarely see any like different type of strong attack free, so I'm all for this. If it makes the character a tad bit worse or a tad bit better, it doesn't really matter to me. It's a bit fun, especially when you can actually get it off. I feel like it's going to work really well in co-op. We're going to demonstrate that later in this video, because the idea is that you can use this SF3 on bosses, for example, and there's a pretty good chance they're going to get afflicted by the status element, where then you're doing 80% more damage. So in single player content like this, where it's inherently easier, maybe it doesn't shine that well, but you can see that we were able to actually use the SA3, planted it, and the wave actually spawned into it. So at the same time, I feel like you actually benefit from knowing the map locations or where the enemies are going to spawn with this particular Mayuri, just to maybe plan ahead. It's a different type of game style, right? We're going into the final room. Let's demonstrate this character, Sobom. Absolutely beautiful. Love the Sobom. The whole idea of this character is really fun. And look at that end animation. Bro is not pleased. But in that case, a 1 minute and 33 second clear time. Not really the greatest. We're going to retry that again. I did get hit in that particular run. Let's see if we can get faster. All right. So first up, we're going to use our SA2, because the ideal here is that we want to actually inflict status element, which we luckily did do. So when we do inflict a status element, damage is not really a problem here. Obviously, he is potentially going to have some struggle to actually inflict status element unless you do plan ahead with that SA3. So let's use our SA3 here. Kill these enemies and hopefully actually, yeah, look at that. So we actually inflicted those enemies there that just spawned in. That's beautiful. I'm going to soul bomb here. Maybe should have waited for my SP boost to wear off, but it's fine, because our SA3 does actually hit quite a few times as well. So there's a good chance we also get the SP boost from that. With that, we're already into the final room. What all we have to do is just grab the soul bomb, let the soul bomb off, and there we go. That wasn't too bad. Honestly, it wasn't. Again, I understand the idea that this character doesn't have the greatest set of strong attacks, but I think we've far past the point now where bad strong attacks can really ruin a character. Maybe back in like 2018, where a character had a bad SA1, bad SA2, and with a 20% berserker, there was no saving this character. But damage output is not a problem with this Mayuri. Even survivability, he's immune to everything. He is going to be inflicting status. He is going to be hitting hard, so he's really not that bad. Sure, he could have been better if he was given a better kit. That can be said for a lot of characters, but I don't think this ruins him. In that case, though, without killer, we were able to clear in 54 seconds time. That's not that bad. All right, so jump into some co-op IT then. This isn't really gonna be like the best place to use him. We are carrying, and my account isn't really fit to carry with the accessories that I do have, or more so the links, they aren't really worked on. But at the same time, in this particular quest, Mayuri does not have killer here, so obviously less damage. Really good juice to the SA3. As already mentioned, knowing where to place that SA3 is going to be really important just for clearing fast here. So we can use that already going into the next wave. All of them already got inflicted. We can drag them in here. Really good use of the strong attacks there. I'm actually really enjoying this kit. But as we don't have killer against the enemies, they unfortunately do have killer against us, and that's definitely going to be a problem. Essentially, if we take one hit, we're basically dead. But we can use our SA2 there, basically drag them onto the trap itself. Let's use our SA3 there, deal with these enemies while the others just walk onto the trap. And then let's use our SA3 there, because we know they're going to spawn in. Look at that. Paralyzed all of them. Beautiful. But I gotta say, having a long stride skill on this particular character as a bonus ability is definitely going to be important here, because you will notice that there are times where you have to get in and out of combat super quick. So that extra protection is going to be really important on this particular character. But I gotta say, kit-wise, it does flow together quite well. Like, you can use your SA3, do a good amount of damage, potentially paralyze them, and then you can use your SA2 just to like drag them into it to potentially get that paralysis off even faster. But I think we're going to be able to demonstrate the SA3 here. Can use it there. Look at that. Instantly paralyze the bosses. That's what you ideally want to do here. And that will allow you to get through the stage a lot quicker. That's actually kind of smooth here. If we had killer, it'd be way more impressive. But in a situation like this, I feel like we'd be definitely struggling a lot more if we didn't have that SA3 to almost guarantee that we can paralyze those enemies. And I believe we're going to be able to demonstrate it in the next stage too. There's going to be a lot of enemies at the end of this particular stage, actually. Let's use our SA3. It goes down. Let's just hope they inflict the paralysis. Yes, it does. Lovely. Now we just do a couple more strong attacks. And there we go. They go down. Now, going into this stage, I haven't given the character a tension type, so I have no idea how the nuke is going to perform here. I don't think that well. But once more, we should be able to demonstrate the SA3. Let's put that down. Unfortunately, the actual was right outside the placement, so I didn't actually place it quite well there. But we can see that we actually did paralyze them, and now that's actually pretty good. And let's try nuke now. Does that actually... Yeah, okay. Nuking is not a problem with Mayuri, I'll say that. Probably could have nuked significantly earlier there. Now, clear time definitely is an issue here. We got a 4 minute and 47 clear time. Difficulty-wise, it wasn't that big of an issue. Like, we were able to go in and out, use our strong attacks when we need to. Every time the boss spawned in, we basically just paralyzed them, so that wasn't really that big of a deal. Carrying with this character, 2 out of 5 on my side account, while I don't have my links built up, for example, really isn't something that this Mayuri is designed for the most part, especially when he doesn't have killer. Definitely want to see how he performs when he does have killer, because at that point, you're doing 60% more damage. That's going to make a big difference. But I will say that SA3 definitely is smooth. It does have a few seconds added to it because it does have, the extra effect to it. But I don't think that's a negative whatsoever. I think if we didn't have the SA3 there, the character would have been significantly worse. Because in a situation like this where I'm saving my summon for the final boss, being able to just guarantee paralysis and then do 80% more damage to the boss is actually really smooth. But jumping into the test play, let's quickly just demonstrate the power of this Mayuri's nuke. We did do the test play run earlier today. As you can see, this character can complete the test play in less than, 5 seconds time. I believe on my current leaderboard, he has a 4-second clear time, which is basically the exact same as Yamamoto, which essentially puts him as the second fastest character in the game when it comes to clearing the test play. The only character faster than this Mayuri and also Yamamoto is essentially Aaroniero, and that's not because their Soulman hits harder, it's more so that Aaroniero has long strides, so he's able to get to the position to nuke just a second faster. But before we do end the video, I do want to showcase one little cool thing in regards to Mayuri with that SA3 in particular, right? So what we can see, and it was mentioned in the news, that we do have a trap in. Now, lucky for Mayuri, he's actually immune to every status, which is great, nice little quality of life. If we actually use our SA3 here, place down our trap, our status element pool, let's quickly just kill these enemies. Look at that, they all spawned on it, lovely. You'll see here that once the trap does go away, wherever trap was on the floor, whether it's a status element pool or a trap in Senkamon, it actually disappears. It goes away completely. That's kind of interesting. It's not like super amazing. It adds an extra bit of utility to this particular character, especially in Senkamon, right? Now, traps aren't really an issue in Senkamon. You can easily avoid them. But let's say, for example, you're really annoyed on a certain trap, or you're trying to go for a quest that maybe in the future has significantly more traps than ever seen before. You can just use Mayuri's SA3 and get rid of basically all of them. Add a bit more room to the map. Give you more space to tackle the quest. Again, at least to me, it's always cool when Caleb adds something new to the game. This trap mechanic, I think, is a welcomed addition. Obviously, do keep in mind, though, this trap mechanic in particular does not work in Brave Battles and also Epic Raids. Brave Battles, I can understand it would be quite OP. It not working in Epic Raids, I guess I can see why. Would have been cool if it could have worked in Epic Raids, I will say. And to actually expand on that, on why it would be quite broken in even Epic Raid content, is one, he would be constantly paralyzing the boss where they'll barely be able to even attack you, but also most importantly, when a boss does do an attack, let's say he puts a status element on the floor, let's say he puts down a trap, anything he puts on the floor, Mayuri just gets rid of it. So yeah, I could understand why they make it so the trap doesn't work in Epic Raid content too. But with that said, lads, that was the video for today showcasing the new Beyond Bankai version of Mayuri. Definitely a great character. People aren't giving enough credit for what we actually can do. People just saw his strong attack hit, instantly discredited him. But in gameplay, it flows together smoothly. Honestly, strong attacks nowadays aren't really that big of a deal. Not to say he has terrible strong attacks, but with the kit that he does have and the skills that he has, it's perfectly serviceable. He has a lot of usability with that SA3. It's a fun new mechanic. In Guild Quest, he's going to be a great nuker, but I can understand why you probably don't need him, because you might have max transcended Yamamoto, you might have a max transcended 7th anniversary Ichigo. That's perfectly fine. But for Mayuri fans that want a new good Mayuri, this is exactly that. He came with a new mechanic in the game, it's fun to play around with, he's a great character, and without doubt one of the better power characters in the game. Not every character that releases needs to be the best character in every given attribute. He fits into the power attribute nicely, especially as an rank killer. Probably is the best rank killer for the power attribute, and has a lot of potential with more dupes to this particular character, but again, not everyone's going to have him duped out, which is understandable. But maybe sometime in the future, when he starts to become a tad bit more common. With that said though, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you like to think about this Mayuri in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and peace.